There's a huge increase in the demand for meat and produce. So they had to also acquire large amounts of cattle from the last remaining independent Khoisan tribes. The commando system was used effectively to coerce these tribes to trade with the Dutch.
Once the Khoisan lost their cattle, they had very few options except to either become laborers for the new class of company settler, who was finding it was much easier to be a cattle farmer or a sheep farmer than it was to be an agriculturalist.
The few remaining Hasakwa kraals were under constant threat from land-hungry farmers moving in from the Cape. Professor Russell Viljoen did extensive research into a case of land dispossession in 1787. A farmer named Johannes Nicholas Swart displaced a whole community of Khoisan under Captain David Valentine close to Rivier Sonnerend. The Cape Governor condemned the land invasion, yet nothing was done about it.
But in the background, there was this young up-and-coming person called Jan Parel, who was part of that community, saw what I see as injustice, and he wanted to do something about it. He saw himself as this prophet called Ons Lewe Heer, meaning that with the help from God, the Dutch on the 25th of October would be driven from the Cape, and the Khoisan people would be restored the rightful owners of the country, South Africa.
Jan Parel was born in 1761 near present-day Swellendam. His mother was a Hasakwa and his father possibly a Dutch farmer. Despite not fully recognized in South African history, he dared to challenge the very heart of the Cape establishment. He was a visionary, a rebel, a free thinker, and a restless spirit that refused to accept his station in life dealt to him at birth.
We wanted to get back his land from colonial rule in a very unusual way. A movement which lasted several months evolved and unfolded, which caused quite a lot of trouble within the Cape. He had about 200 supporters comprising slaves, Khoisan, aggrieved people of Khoi descent. But I think what happened was that there were internal strife within what we can call a movement. Information leaked to the local authorities that large arms caches were stored in certain Khoisan kraals, assegais, bows and arrows to be used to launch their attack on the colonial farmers in the region. The information that led to where the colonial officials, led by the Van Hulp Onkruid, could then defuse in a way the rebellion, in a way where it came to naught.
Jij, harde poesvrouw, ik sta net in die lijn. Doe je het liefje vanmorgen, zoals het klein met volkiepen. Ik zie mijn vloek en scheel is niks. Mijn vloek en scheel was niks, maar net jaloers was ieder.
According to some historians, after reaching the Hari, one group of Khoisan herders moved west towards the cold Atlantic, and here they split into two. One group headed into Namibia, and the other south into what today we call Namaqualand. Centuries later, they will re-establish contact with the Cape Khoisan when clans crossed into the Olifants River, heading north to escape colonial rule. For centuries, the territory between the Olifants River in the south and the Harib in the north was occupied by the Little Namakwas. The group across the river in present-day Namibia, was known as the Great Namakwa. The Namas is one of the few tribes of Khoisan that remained largely intact as a group. Today, people live in reserves which developed around the mission stations.
We're in Lelyfontein, the southern part of Namaqualand, and I'm joined by Florence Fulton, a cultural activist, storyteller, writer, poet, and she was born and bred in Lelyfontein.
Actually, Jolene, I was born and bred in Temis. Temis, that is how it's originally called by the Khoi people. It was baptized Temis.
Voor Lelyfontein.
Voor Lelyfontein.
Well, okay.
Voor Lelyfontein.
En hoe het die mense hier gesettel? Hoekom?
Soos jy kan sien, baie vrugbare grond, waterryk. In die valleie en kloof rondom Lelyfontein is baie water en dit was 'n ideale beskutte plek.
Vertel my van die pre-koloniale geskiedenis van Lelyfontein of Temis.
Ja, Temis, lank voor die koms van Barnabas in 1816. Het die Khoi hulle reeds hier ingeburger in hierdie plek. Hulle het dit Temis genoem, soos ek reeds gesê het, en dit beteken die plek van samekoms. So hier was 'n hele aantal Nama-hutte. Hulle het daar ingewoon, dit was hulle plek waar hulle gebly het. Reg rondom Lelyfontein was daar 'n klipmuur, 'n hoë klipmuur gepak. En ek het by die ouer mense gehoor, hierdie klipmuur, die doel daarvan was om die diere, hulle diere uit te hou. Want hulle het baie beeste. Hulle het beeste gehad, hulle het skaap gehad. Hulle was in vandag se terme eintlik ryk mense. En daar was reg hulle klere dra, hulle het maar velkarosse gedra. Wat hulle geëet het was vleis en veldkos, wortels en bessies en plante uit die veld. Hulle het op daai stadium nie brood geëet nie. Hulle het ook nog nie groente geëet nie. Dit was dinge wat later gekom het. Maar hulle het geweet van 'n goddelikheid. Hulle het 'n god gehad, the great one in the sky, wat hulle Khoisan genoem het. Maar dit was vir hulle 'n probleem want hulle kon hom nie sien nie. Hulle het hom net gehoor in die donder. En daar was 'n begeerte by hulle om meer uit te vind van hierdie god van die heelal.
Today, things have not changed much in Lelyfontein. The reed mat huts made way for modern structures, but we can still see goat and sheep herders living a semi-nomadic lifestyle, just like their forefathers. This stock post is about 5 kilometers from the village. In keeping with tradition, these herders live with their herds in temporary structures and prepare their meals in cooking shelters. During the winter months, they will move again even further away in search of better pasture and wherever it's warmer. This pasture rotation has helped to preserve the land from overuse.
Ek haal nou die pootjies wat die karkas aangedaan. Sit ek in die kop ook en sit tussen die een kant. Die pens moet ook nog uitkom.
Okay.
En gaan ons die pens skoonmaak, het word ook gebruik as die afval. Op die oomlik is die boerdery by ons swak, en ons het nie goeie reënval gehad, soos al die ander jare.
Most of the land around them has been claimed by commercial farmers, and they need more land to sustain their herds. At first, colonialists left the Namas alone, but the opening of the cattle trade started a new wave of expansion. By the 1770s, white track boers started moving in, leading to new conflict over land. The new stock farmers acquired land through the loan farm system. The farmers fenced in large tracts of land near watering holes, and the Khoi herders were forced onto reserves and mission stations. Deep in the northwest, we find the mission station Steinkop. The original Nama settlement was about 5 kilometers south at a place with an interesting name, Besondermeid.
Besondermeid. Dit is eintlik die vertaling van 'n naam Karakois nie. Wat beteken 'n uitsonderlike of 'n besondere vrou. Daar is die sendingwerk begin deur 'n Duitse sendeling van die Rynse Sendinggenootskap. Wat die gemeente begin het rondom 1817. Sy naam was Johann Heinrich Schmühlen. Hy het later aan het hy getrou met 'n inheemse vrou wat ook van die Steenkop gebied afkomstig was, 'n Namavrou. Ons het daar geken as Anna of Corrie Meyer. Dis die naam wat ons van al die van gehoor het. Maar sy het later 'n ander naam aangeneem toe sy gedoop was, Zara. En sy staan daarom ook bekend as Zara Schmühlen vir sommige mense.
During her lifetime, and for many years until recently, Zara never got the recognition for translating the Bible into Nama. During the late 1700s, Khoisan of mixed origin called bastards and bastard Hottentots started moving north and assimilated with the Nama population. They were called Oorlams, meaning clever people. Many had white fathers. They had horses and guns, and some adopted the Christian faith. Oma Saraji Bali, as she is known, is a direct descendant of an Oorlam Kaptein Abraham Vugeland. Apparently, he was anointed by the influential Kaptein Kiddo Witbooi as Kaptein over the Steenkop region.
Abraham Vugeland het 1803 het hy weer gekom in die land. En hy het 'n ou man daar oorkant kom gekry, want hy mag nie. Hy het met sy rygoed gehad, en hy het gestap. Toe kom hy eers in Besonderheid van die Kaap af. Het hy geloop. Hy soek plek om te sit met sy mense saam. Hy het baie mense gehad, namas. En dan, hy was 'n koei, die ou man. Hy lê hier. Hy het die wêreld omgegaan. Het 'n os gehad wat hy opgery het. Nie 'n os, nie 'n koei wat melk had. Het hy die land omgepatrolie. En daar waar hy moeg is, wat hy bietjie wil rus, dan melk hy die koei en hy drink hy melk. Toen Kiddo me daar gezet als kapitein van het kleine land. En gezegd, hier moet jij zitten, ik ga voor hem doen. Toen hij bellen toe gegaan. En bellen gezet. Aan ons wel weer. Schenk ons weer hier zo, het mijn opa groetje Adam Kok dienstgehou. Want hier was hij kerk in het land geweest. Dus die eerste kerk wat hier gehouden is.
During the 18th century, a new subgroup of Khoisan, mixed with slaves and European farmers, emerged. They started migrating north into Namaqualand in search of land. One influential group was the Griquas, and their founding father was Adam Kok.
Who was Adam Kok? There are no official written records to tell us who he was, to give us an accurate idea. Some say he was a cook here at the Cape Castle. He may very well have worked in the governor's dining halls or behind one of those doors in the kitchen.
One might never get to the truth because the records are quite patchy and not very forthcoming. But the very first Adam Kok was probably a runaway slave. The name Kok suggests maybe that he might have been a cook.
But whoever he was, he must have been a very remarkable man with great leadership abilities. He managed to unite a diverse group of people, Khoisan, freed or runaway slaves, and lead them on a quest for freedom.